Having braved the Ten Trail through a sudden and vicious blizzard, the ragtag group escorting Pavel Bursk climbed the final few hundred meters of snowy trail towards the whipping flags of Bryn Shander, the walled hilltop town that is the gateway between 10 towns and beyond to the north and the rest of Faerun's civilization to the south. The flag's crest, black antlers atop a vertical shaft of golden wheat on a white field, signifies the town's strength and prosperity on the vast snowy tundra. Despite the cold wind threatening to snuff them out, the feverishly flickering torches atop the 30-foot-high walls cast orange light, revealing the solid construction of this outpost settlement. Smoke rising into the sky from beyond the walls carries the comforting smells of the many fireplaces and hearths within, along with various aromas of cooking meats, savory stews, and hot ciders. As they approach the south gate, a guard calls out,
"State your name and your business."
As the group remove their snowshoes and pile them onto the sled beside Prospero, Einar pulls his hood back, revealing his curved horns and blue tiefling skin.
Escort of a supply shipment brokered by this fine gentleman, Pavel Bursk, on behalf of Rendaril.
A casual and familiar reference to the half-elven owner and proprietor of Rendaril's Emporium, the largest and busiest mercantile building in Bryn Shander, and the building around which the town was originally constructed.
"Hope you got some fresh tobacco in there. Me pipe's been dry for months."
The guard inquires as he points down inside the wall, and the 15-foot-tall gate is pushed open by a pair of other guards.
"Keep out of trouble and you're welcome to stay. Start some and you'll be out in the cold."
The guard's nonchalant, tough guy warning made much more genuine by the cold stares of all observing the sled and its crew as they begin to move through the gate. 10 towns and its inhabitants do not tolerate any behavior that could disrupt the delicate balance between the far-reaching desolation and incessant cold that callously and continuously tries its hardest to kill them, and their desperate resilience that keeps the town functioning. Asking too many questions in 10 towns can quickly lead to overly curious visitors disappearing in the frozen tundra, covered in blowing snow in a matter of hours, never to be seen again. After all, curiosity killed the Craig cat. The dogs pull the sled through the main street north toward the center of town, while Malumadum, Krusk, and Dregs march steadily beside it. Einar keeps to the shadows of the buildings, keeping an eye out for anything unusual, while Pavel Bursk and Prospero ride atop the supplies. The occasional, heavily hooded and bulky form of an unknown humanoid lumbers past, shielding their face from the biting wind, near impossible to discern their race, gender, or intentions. The escort keeps watch over Pavel and the supplies as they make their way past the small cabins, shacks, and shops that this town is comprised of. For most, the doors and shutters are firmly closed, smoke billowing out of the chimneys. Some of the larger homes have thick glass windows, frozen condensation on the outside, allowing only a warm glow and the occasional shadow moving within. After a 10-minute walk, the group arrives in the center of town in front of Rendaril's Emporium, its storefront facade facing the central marketplace. Pavel Bursk steps off the sled, shifting his weight from heel to heel. "Well, all said, that wasn't so bad, hey fellas?" he proclaims, no response forthcoming. A gate beside the store opens and a humanoid figure secures it open and waves the group in.
"Please, this way. If you don't mind bringing the sled around, we can get you gentlemen on your way. The name's Rendaril,"
he says as the group passes by, maneuvering the dogs through the gate.
Just leave it there in the storeroom. Pavel and I can unload it. No need for you to all stay out in the cold any longer than needed."
Pavel's jaw agape, stammering at the thought of doing manual labor.
"Okay, 25 gold was the deal, I believe, along with free room and board at the Norfolk, and all you can eat and drink for the night on Mr. Bursk. Right, Pavel?"
he says as Pavel Bursk's jaw seems to drop open even more. Shifting uncomfortably, Pavel protests, well, you see, the thing is..."
"Yup, deal's a deal,"
says Krusk, and he steps toward Rendaril, hand extended.
"A pleasure, gentlemen. Let me know if you are heading south again and can guide more shipments. It is hard to find reliable help as of late."
As he hands over a leather pouch, clinking with coins.
"We'll keep that in mind,"
Einar replies.
"Stay safe."
Krusk divides up the gold as the group moves away from the merchants. "Don't you have staff for this sort of thing, Rendaril? can be heard as the wind drowns out the rest of the conversation behind them now.
Okay, 5 gold each.
Krusk exclaims as he hands out the coins.
I could use an ale.
Some stew and a mulled wine would be nice.
Pipes Prospero.
We need to catch up.
He says to Einar, looking up at him with a smile. Einar nods.
I could eat.
Says Malumadum, his deep voice resonating through the wind. Ale sounds good. The piercing whisper of dregs emanating from behind his mask. The group sets out with renewed purpose, the expectation of a warm meal, shelter, and the taste of ale building as the wind continues to whip against them. True to its name, the Northlook Inn is located in the north end of Bryn Shander, looking north out over the walls onto the plains. Northlook is reputed to be frequented by adventurers and mercenaries. For that reason, it can be a very dangerous place, but can also be the best source for information and rumors of the Ten Towns region, or for soliciting the aid of capable people for all manner of employment. Einar opens the door and is hit by a wave of warm air and the smells of cooked meat, mead, and wet hides. As the group makes its way inside, several patrons look up for a moment, pausing their conversations and giving a quick once-over to the bizarre array of characters now pouring into the inn.
Have a seat where you'd like. Tonight's special is stag stew and a mug of ale for 5 silver.
Says a gruff human behind the bar, middle-aged but fit, and the gaze of someone who can handle himself.
The name's Scramsacks, and by the look of you, you're the crew that came in with Rendaril's goods.
Prospero puts a hand on the bar stool in front of him and starts to climb up. At 33 inches tall, he doesn't mind the firm hand of Einar that gives him a boost and get him settled on top of the stool.
Prospero Portal Jumper.
He exclaims and motions towards Einar.
And this is my good friend Einar. Pleased to meet ya. You know, I ran an inn for the past 100 years. Jumper's Fate was its name, and...
What can I get you, Master Gnome?
Scramsacks interjects.
Oh, well, what kind of mead do you have?
Prospero inquires enthusiastically.
Good mead.
Scramsacks replies flatly.
Well, I sure hope it's good, but what's it called?
Einar smirks a bit.
It's from the village good mead, old friend. Trust me, it's good mead.
Well, all right then. A pint of good mead, Mr. Scramsacks.
Says Prospero matter-of-factly.
And the rest of you?
Mead.
Says Einar. Malumadum turns around, careful not to impale his companions with his large, intricately carved tusks, but bumps his head off one of the beams running across the tavern 9 feet in the air. A deep voice bellows in mild discomfort.
Well, I'm curious. You don't have any, coffee, do you?
Coffee. You serious?
Scramsacks smiles in surprise.
Well, yeah. I like coffee.
And you two?
Scramsacks gestures at Krusk and Dregs.
Ale!
Krusk retorts, eagerly looking toward the back of the tavern where a group of older men seem to be gambling with dice. Same for me, Dregs says absently as he scans the room. He notices a table of dwarves in the middle of the tavern that are eyeing the group and talking quietly to one another. 2 are heavily bearded. All look worn as old leather, ice picks at their belts, snowshoes on the floor, hides still dripping wet from melting snow. They haven't been here long. He catches their eyes, letting his masked visage linger a bit too long, looking for a reaction. There is none as they continue chatting and glancing up.
I hear your illustrious employer is picking up the tab. Enjoy your night, gents. I'll settle up with him later.
Scramsacks says with a grin as he hands over the foaming mugs. Dregs leans into Krusk. Table of dwarves hasn't stopped staring, big man. Be on guard.
Whatever. Wouldn't be the first dwarf nose I broke. Hey, are they gambling over there?
Krusk asks rhetorically as he heads towards the table of dice rollers. Dregs looks over at the dwarves again. They are having an animated conversation amongst themselves. The unbearded female, hand in the face of her companion, and likely would have been pointing a finger or two if Frostbite hadn't taken them, and one of her ears as well. The other 2 seem equally devoid of a few digits. Remind me to buy better mitts, Dregs says, turning to his side, seemingly to no one. Worthwhile investment indeed, he jokingly responds, looking sideways again, a wry but invisible smile under his mask.
So what in God's name have you been doing these past, 15 years? Has it been that long?
Prospero looks at Einar and smiles. Around his eyes, the crow's feet wrinkles are deep grooves forged by centuries of smiles and laughs, but the eyes show seriousness, covered by a thin veil of excitement expressed through impassioned queries and a well-dressed, well-groomed persona befitting of a successful, sharp-as-a-tack, gnomish entrepreneur.
A lot of sailing, really. Worked quite a bit in Waterdeep, Neverwinter. Made my way up north a few years back, fishing, transporting goods. Worked my way from a deckhand to second mate so far. This never-ending winter's put a dent in business, though. Been living in Targos as of late.
Sounds like you've kept busy. It's good to be here. I was getting an itch to do something different, and I was being Goblin's uncle before I would have withered away in that inn all alone.
He adjusts himself a bit, shakes his head, grabs his flagon of mead, and takes a swig.
It's time for new adventures, lad. That's why I'm here, with you. You know, I do magic now. You look like you've been going through a rough patch, kid. What's this sullen, frosty attitude you got now?
Prospero asks, drinking deeply once again from his mug.
Yeah. A few things going on with me, I suppose. Lot to change, that's for sure.
Einar notices the Loxodon bending over toward them, mug of coffee being set down on the bar with a shaggy brown trunk.
You two have known each other for a while then, huh? That's nice.
Malumadum says as his massive head nods approvingly.
What about you, Scroll Tusks? What's your story?
Einar takes a look over the intricate patterns covering the length of the Loxodon's tusks.
Well, I came over from the east. I crossed the mountains and saw all this beauty. It's quite magnificent, you know. Yet I can feel not all is well. Something taints this place. There's no balance. I'd like to fix that, I think. It's too dark, too cold, too long.
Good luck with that, my shaggy friend. Why don't you just go ask Oral what her problem is?
You know, that's not a bad idea. We should do that.
We? I think you're on your own with that idea.
Einar scoffs.
With that kind of talk, you should just offer yourself as the next sacrifice.
Scramsax interjects.
Next sacrifice? I mean, there's been previous ones? For what? That Frostmaiden, what's her name? Oral?
Yeah. I mean, everyone in town has their name in the lottery. And every blue moon a name gets picked and then, you know, sacrifice.
Scramsax says plainly, drawing a finger over his neck, indicating someone being killed.
Oh, I don't know. Are you daft, man? You're killing your own to appease an invisible god in the hope she brings back the sun?
Prospero chuckles.
It's just ridiculous.
Hey. You're a visitor here, Props. Let's not judge.
Einar grabs Prospero's leg and squeezes hard, giving him a look that conveys his sincerest desire for his friend to shut up immediately.
What? Eh? You want to play dice with us? Have you ever played dice before? And you got any money?
An old drunken voice is heard from the back, taking the attention of all in the room as Krusk and Dregs stand by the gambling table.
Yeah, we got money, old man. Can we play or not?
Well, sure. Don't get so excited, my tusk friend. Have a seat. And you, masked man?
Why not? Dregs sits down at the table, keeping an eye on the dwarves across the room, who are all still staring and gesturing towards him. It's turning out to be an interesting evening. So how do we play?
We're gonna play dead man's dice. You roll 4 dice, keep 'em hidden, and put your lowest in front of you. Then we bet. Person with the highest total of the other 3 dice wins the pot. Got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Krusk yells. Yeah, got it, Dregs whispers. A few minutes later, and Krusk is exuberant with his growing pile of gold in front of him.
I like this game.
He says to Dregs, tusked grin on his face as he wipes ale from his lips. Another round of drinks? Dregs asks.
Yeah, hey Scramsax. Yeah, give me one of those good meads, one for my good friend here.
Krusk shouts, attracting the attention of everyone. During the distraction, Dregs quickly swipes the dice of the old man at the table, checking them over as best he can for inconsistencies before putting them back on the table, no one the wiser.
Say, before we play again, maybe you'd like a bit of luck?
The old man shows him a large silver coin on a chain around his neck.
It's It's me lucky coin. You should rub it for luck.
I don't think so, old man. Roll your dice.
Krusk demands as he rolls his own. Once again, Krusk emerges victorious, and he hears a voice say,
Oh, well done, Krusk. Well done.
You say something?
Krusk demands, looking around for the source of the voice, but is met with only blank, puzzled looks. Dregs pushes away from the table. Well, that was fun. Thank you, fine gentlemen. He stands, nods slightly before turning to leave. As he walks back to the bar, he sees the female dwarf approaching quickly, heading straight for him. He stops, hands disappearing within his cloak, watching her carefully as she approaches. She slows her pace, and he looks down, the horrific details of his mask plain for her to see. She stops suddenly, a few feet away, and confidently speaks.
Well met, stranger. I'm Haruna, and those are my friends, Crooks and Storm. We need help, and you and your companions look capable.
Indeed. Please go on, Miss Haruna, Dregs says, loud enough to ensure the companions she speaks of can hear.
We're the survivors of a group of dwarves tasked with delivering a sled of iron ingots to Bryn Shander. A Yeti surprised us and killed a member of our group. The rest of us fled as the Yeti tore Ubak limb from limb. Now we need someone to go back and get the sled for us. As payment, we offer each of you a gemstone worth 50 gold pieces. The friendship of the dwarves of Icewind Dale can also be a boon in these harsh times. You'll need snowshoes to make the trip in good time.
I do not speak for them, Haruna, but I will help you if I can, Dregs offers. In perfect Dwarvish, Prospero asks,
Where were you attacked, lass?
She responds in Dwarvish.
Northeast of here, a few miles east of the road between Torgos and Tourmaline. I can show you on the map.
You're sure it was a Yeti?
Malumadum asks, a note of suspicion in his voice.
A very dangerous creature indeed.
Who owns the ingots?
Einar asks.
Why aren't they going after the sled?
They belong to the clan Battlehammer. This just happened today. We fled. They won't even know something went wrong for another day or two. Look, we would go ourselves, but...
It's okay, little one. You suffered a terrible tragedy.
Malumadum comes over to put a shaggy arm around Haruna and comforts her.
Well, we'll need some payment up front, dwarf.
Krusk says as he strides over from the gambling table.
A down payment for our gear.
I can offer 1 gem now, and the rest once you've returned. And a 10% discount at Black Iron Blades.
Haruna concedes sullenly.
But I'm trusting you to return with the ingots, to bring them to Tourmaline, along with this writ.
And as she holds it out, Prospero hops down and grabs it, putting the paper into an inside pocket.
Grendel Granite Fist can also make good on payment in exchange for the ingots, if you choose to bring them to Tourmaline.
And what's left of your friend, Ubak? Do your traditions desire the return of his remains? Dregs asks.
If you can, but I doubt there's much left by now.
She says sullenly, eyes lowering to the floor.
Allow us some time to discuss, little one.
Malumadum says reassuringly, patting her back with a large, shaggy, 3-fingered hand. Haruna nods and returns to her table. Einar leans in.
Well, I could use the coin. If it was a Yeti, it's probably got a belly full of dwarf about now. Couldn't care less about a sled of rocks. I'm in.
We worked well together on the escort.
Krusk adds.
It seems like easy money. I'm in.
I'd like to see about this so-called Yeti. I think I can help.
Malumadum adds. I told her I'd do what I can. I'm in as well, says Dregs.
That's exactly what I came for. Adventure, monsters, treasure. I'm in.
Exclaims Prospero. Einar turns to the table of dwarves.
All right, Haruna. We'll hunt down your sled. We leave in the morning.